Hey guys, Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game coming back at you. Yes, I know it's been a little while. It's just been very hectic still on my end. I'm terribly sorry about that, but getting back up and running here. What I want to do today is I get bombarded with this question a lot, and it is a great question. It really is. And I get this all the time. And they're asking me, well, Chris, how can I compare a string value? And basically what I'm talking about, like for Infinite Health, is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at it for the Cheat Engine tutorial. And I also got a couple of games. I'm just going to pick one at random that also has their names at a specific offset. And what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to compare their names to use in a health script, where it will separate your heroes out from your enemies. Enemies will still jump to get their health reduced. Your heroes will jump to the infinite health. And we're going to be using their names. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me go ahead and bring everything on up. I'm going to go ahead and load up the Cheat Engine tutorial first. With Cheat Engine, we're going to go over that step by step, the 64-bit version. Last time I did the 32-bit, but this time we're going to do the 64-bit, which is a lot more challenging. So bear with me while I do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I just decided to go ahead and turn the recorder on again while I bring it up, and we're going to go directly to the 64-bit Cheat Engine tutorial this time. You remember last time we did the 32-bit step number 9 explained, but this time we're going to do the 64-bit. And if you have not done the 64-bit tutorial, I really recommend that you do, because it's a little different, a lot more challenging, and you got some scenarios that aren't quite the same as the 32-bit tutorial. So it'll really test you out. So I recommend that you do that. And you're going to see that in this lesson here, where it's not quite the same as it was in the other. So that's what we're going to be concentrating on. Also, this lesson is stemming off a friend of mine's lesson that he gave about 2 weeks ago, Stephen Chapman, formerly known as Sneaky Mofo. He had a lesson in regards to showing you how to find other comparison values in different registries. When you're unable to find one in the health dissect data structure, or in that specific registry, you can also look in other registries as well to find a common value that you can separate your hero from the enemies from. Great stuff. I really recommend that you go watch that. That is the best way to do that when you're unable to find an offset comparison. This is just another method if you have string values that are not changing. There's two criteria. That string value cannot change, and it has to remain at the same offset every single time you load up the game, or just like any other comparison offset. Everything has to stay the same, or it's going to mess your compare up. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the game. I'm going to leave Steven's link down in the description for that lesson. Please go watch it if you have not. It is great stuff. It even taught me some stuff, so I'm telling you, it's great stuff. Let me go ahead and clear the list. I don't want to confuse anybody. That was something I was working on. Alright, let's go ahead and put this on a float. Now, if you remember, step number 9 is just a little mini game just to show you. It's basically a lesson on comparison, but on the 64-bit version, it's not only a lesson on comparison, it's also a lesson on how to add floats as well, because remember, we cannot freeze the value. Well, we actually could and still win the game, but you're not supposed to freeze the value. You're supposed to have Dave and Eric count up and have Hal and Kit count down. So your hero and companion stay alive, your two enemies both die. And that's what we're going to do. So you'll be seeing how I do that. I've been asked that a lot too in the past, and so I'm just going to show you how. There's lots of ways you can do it. This is a way you can do it. So let's go ahead and put 100 in there. First scan it. Take out some health. So we see this one up here is Dave. You can label it if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and get right on with it. Now, all this is assuming that you already know how to do a basic health script. Like I say, this is more in the intermediate range here. Okay, so if you are unfamiliar with what I'm doing right now, go back in previous vids. Also check out Sneaky Mofo's channel. He gives a lot of great information on beginners all the way up to advanced as well. So we attach the debugger to the process. I'm using VEH debugger. Hit attack, and it brings up our opcode. This is the opcode that is writing to our health address. Our health address is located in RBX, if you can see here. RBX, here's the base address of our hero, Dave. And add 8 to that, which is at the offset, the health. That'll make it F8, and it's storing that 90 at that offset in RBX. So we want to go to that in the disassembler. And the one thing about it, this is a shared opcode, so everybody is getting their health value. This is writing to everybody's health value. Dave's going through it, Eric, Hal, and Kit all are going through it. So we can actually use that opcode to find all their addresses, and that's what we're going to do. We right click on it. I'm sorry, I kind of did that too quick. You right click on it, find out what addresses this instruction accesses. Go ahead and put it on float so we can get their true values, and just go take some more damage off each one. So we hit Dave, and there's Dave's health address. Hit Eric, there's Eric's health address. Let's hit Hal, there's Hal's health address. And let's hit Kit, and there's her address. Alright, and like normal, we're just going to bring this up in the dissect data structure. Sorry about that. Right click on them after you've highlighted them all. Open dissect data with selected addresses. And I'm just going to click on new window and OK every screen that comes up. And here we go. First thing we always do when we try to find infinite health is we got to separate our heroes and companions from our two enemies. So we need to separate them into different groups. We see that they're all in group 1 right now, so let's put Hal and Kit in a different group. So we'll go put change group, new group, click OK, and group 2, or you can name it enemies, whatever floats your boat on that. And now we're going to change group for Kit, group 2, click OK. And now we got Hal and Kit and Dave and Eric in 2 separate groups. That way we can, this is what we start looking for right here, is group differences. Now yes, I know 14 is the offset normally that we would use to do this. However, we're going to pretend right now that we couldn't find that. We're going to pretend right now that's something else. I'm just going to change that. And you see, we go all the way through the list and we're looking for group differences. Nothing, 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 nothing. We're like, oh man, what are we supposed to do? Well, the next logical step is you want to do what Steven showed you how to do in his past video. You want to look in other registries. Go take a look at it. He shows you exactly how to do that. But also we did notice this right here. It's got all their names here at this offset here, number 19. And that is a string value. Names, things of that nature are string values. And we test that out as well and see that if we close this down, bring it back up, bring all this information back up at offset 19, still a string value, all their names are still there and the same. Okay, everything has to be the same, so it does meet our criteria. Okay, well, we can possibly use this. We can't really use it to compare a string exactly because it's not really reading names. The game isn't reading names. The computer isn't reading this name. It's reading binary code. It's reading bytes. Okay, all these are represented by bytes and numbers. So how can we get Cheat Engine to recognize this as a compare? If we go in there and put Dave, it's just going to say I don't recognize it. So we got to put it into a form it does recognize. So let's go ahead and get our hero right quick. And what I want to do is let's go ahead and start up our script and auto assemble. We're just going to use a AOB injection script. I'm just going to name it Health 1. And we'll just use the template that Darkbite created for us to help us out. And we're just going to go ahead and modify this. First thing I want to do is I know I cannot find a group difference. I can't find anything where Dave and Eric are the exact same. So I'm going to have to use 2 different compares to make sure that they're both jumping to or going to infinite health, and Hal and Kit are going directly to where it's taking away their health. So automatically I'm going to put our infinite health at its own location. And the way to do that is create a new label. This is just a name of a place in memory and that it will put our infinite health at. So I'm just going to write underneath new mem with the colon, and this is where we're going to put our infinite health. And I'm going to show you how to write infinite health for a float value to make it add up in just a second. But first off, let's go ahead and grab our compare. We know that all this information right here is the RBX registry because it's dealing with the health and all this information. This is all the offsets at this point in time that RBX is pointing to. All these offsets is what it's pointing to. And you can see it's just using a few right now. Most of these are zeros. Most of the time you're going to see that that's pointing to a lot of them. But we can't find the group difference. But we see these are the same. So the first thing we want to do, it's not going to be able to do it via the string. So let's convert it to its numeric form, an integer. And I'm going to convert it to a 4 byte. So we double click on it. And instead of string, we're going to click it to 4 byte. This is what Cheat Engine recognizes as their names as well. These numbers, an integer number. These numbers will always be the same. Every time you load up the game and you change that from string to 4 byte, that is their names in its 4 byte notation. So we're going to use that because they're always going to be the same. So I'm just going to double click on Dave right here. Click OK after I've copied it and go back to my script. So we know we're in the RBX registry and our names are located at offset 19. And I want it to compare Dave's name, but I need it to compare it in its numeric form. So I use the pound to show that it's an integer. It's a 4 byte integer. And that's Dave's name in its 4 byte form. So we can actually use that. That is something Cheat Engine will recognize. That is a number, an integer. We want it to compare an integer at offset 19. That's Dave. And we want it to jump, if not equal, to code. So if any other number at that offset, if it doesn't equal this right here, they're going to be jumping to code, and that's where it's still subtracting and writing the subtraction to our health. Okay? So this hero location is where we want our infinite health, or where it's adding up. So we know that Eric does equal this number, so he's going to bypass this and just keep going straight on down the list like this. So it's just going to keep performing whatever's next. So what we need to do is we need to have it add a float value to our health, and I'm going to have it count up by 2s. So simple way to do it is, what I need to do is define my float value, and I'm going to do that by using another label, and I'm just going to call it float. I don't want to do that. No, that'll confuse somebody. I'm just going to call it HADD2. How's that? Health add 2. That's what that means. HADD2. And I'm going to just put it in its own little spot somewhere, just out of the way. And that'll be another address in memory that it'll do that. What do I want stored at that address? Well, I'm storing a D word, DD. I need it to be a float, and I want it to represent the number 2 in float. So every time computer sees that name, it's going to recognize it as a number 2. I also want to register it as a symbol so I can use it outside of that location if I need to. So HADD2, and we need to unregister it down here. UN and just paste it. There we go. Let's get rid of all this mess down here. We don't need all that. Okay. So now we know Dave is going to be jumping down to here. So how are we going to use that to make it add up to 2? Well, we're just going to take just our address and get rid of the rest of that instruction. We don't need it. What I'm going to have it do is I'm going to have it load up a float value. I'm going to have it load up. We got to call it a D word pointer, which is D word PTR, and then I want it to load that HADD2. We put that in brackets. What is that HADD2? Well, it's the float value of 2. We had to define it being a float value. That's why we had to create this label. So it's loading up a float 2. What does it want us to do with that float 2? I want you to add it to a float value. Add a D-word pointer. Okay, what do you want me to add it to? It's going to ask. Well, we want you to add it to our health. Whatever our health is, we want you to add 2 to it. It's loading up a 2. Add 2 to this address right here, to the value of this address. We'll say OK. They'll come over here and look at our value. Okay, we're at 88. Actually, it's looking here. We're at 88, so I'll add 2 to that and make it 89.90. And we want you to store that value and pop it back off the stack, because we're done with it for now until we go down health again. So just store it at that address as well. After you added that address, go ahead and store it as the new value. So let's go ahead and add that to the cheat table just to make sure that it's going to work. Okay, so add that to the cheat table. We're going to put this as test health. It lets us know that it's still in test mode, that we need to work on it some more. And let's just go test Dave. Everybody else should be jumping down and still losing health. You see Eric is, you see Hal is, and Kit, but Dave should be going up. And you see that he is, and he's going up by 2s. Look at that. Alright. Sorry about that. I had to pause it for just a second. The dogs started going crazy, and I didn't want them being picked up on the microphone. Alright. So we see that the code is working. And that's how you can add float values. That's a way you can do it. There's other ways you can do it. Some probably easier than this one. I'm sure people will put, no, you can do it this way, that way, fine. Yeah, you can. Okay. Let's get on with it. Next thing we need to do is we need Eric. As you see, Eric is still going down. Dave, well, we got it turned off right now. Dave will be going up, but Eric is still going down. Let's turn it back on. I'll show you. But Eric's still going down. We need him to also be counting up. So the way we do it, exact same way we did. Let's put it back on screen just a second, just to make sure. And there's Eric's name. Let's convert him to his 4-byte value. And let's copy down his numeric value for his name, which is that right there. We'll Control C. And what I want to do, we know that it's going to read this first compare up here at new min. It's going to jump to new min. It's going to read that. And Eric does not equal this number, and he's going to jump to code. So what I'm going to do down here in code is I'm going to put compare again at the address of RBX plus 19, and I want to put Eric's number. What do I want him to do? I want him to jump if equal to the label hero, where it's given infinite health. And our 2 enemies are going to be jumping down to here where it continues to subtract health. Does that make sense? Everybody see what's going on? Eric's going to be jumping to here now too. So let's test it just to make sure. So Kit needs to be going down. Hal needs to be going down. We know Dave counts up. Look at that. Let's see if Eric does. Does he start counting up? Look at that. So now we've got it. We can go ahead and restart the game and autoplay. And take a look. Boom. There we go. We have successfully bypassed that, and we did it comparing their names. All we did was convert it to a 4-byte form. Now what I want to do is I'm going to bring up a game that also has this same situation, and I'm just going to just quickly show you. It's basically I did the same exact thing you saw right here. Nothing more to it than that. As long as that string does not change, you can convert it to its 4-byte value, use that for your compare, you're good to go. Alright? Okay, I'm bringing up Tales of Hysteria now. I'm just going to load up my cheat table I have already for it. And also Tales of Berseria is the same. It's got the names located there too. Yeah, go ahead and load that on up. Okay, my infinite health script is here. And all we're concentrating on is this one right here for right now, because these are, it's actually dealing with health in two different locations. One when it's in battle, and then one when he gets hit like on the outside of battle. So there's two different locations. That's why I have it this way. But for right now, we're just concentrating on the one that's in battle. It don't really matter because I got just two people sectioned off. You can see I did it the exact same way. EDX is always holding my health cap, so on the hero label I'm having the health cap right to that location. So let's get to it. Let me show you the dissect data right quick. Let's go hit somewhere where there's some enemies. First of all, let me bring up this location right here. Make that readable and writable, and let's go ahead and disassemble that memory region. And here is the opcode that writes to all our health values. And this one happens to be on a 4-byte, so just want to make sure the address populates. So I know that this is my health address right here, so that's what I'm looking for. Just kind of save a little time. So I'm going to take some damage. My guys are like super strong, so I need to get them to ease off on the fighting, or they'll just have the enemies beat in one shot. There we go.
Don't overdo it, Rose. It's a martial arts training element. Should be pretty tough.
You don't let it come near you, it's no big deal.
Come on, somebody hit me.
There's a barrier. Chill out,
Hopefully I've been hit by now. I don't even know. I can't seem to get hit. Mine ends in 3C. There's me right there. That's all I needed. Alright, sorry about that. So I know most of these are my friends. So, you know, if I look at all my friends' values, and I know that I think that's an enemy right here in the middle. So let's go ahead and open that up and dissect data. I really only have me and just one other friend as Infinite Health. So I'm going to change group on the enemy. Alright. So as I was looking and things of that nature, I noticed all the way down here, string value, all set 90. This is all their names. And it even has enemy names here as well. But these are always the same. They're always all set 90. So what I did, Sori is the main guy right here. So I converted Sori to his 4-byte value. And I got this number right here, ending in 8419. So when I did my Infinite Health, I compared out his name because I knew it was always going to be the same. So here's my Infinite Health. As you can see, same exact number. Let me bring it up here. Right here. You can see the same exact number. And it compares my health out. He just keeps going straight on down the list without jumping the code. I have another friend that is ending in 8637, which is, I think it's Mikleo or whatever his name is. Let's take a look. I'm not even sure he's on there. No, he's not. But anyway, it's just another way you can do it. I've been asked, how do you compare out string values? Well, the only time you'd ever be able to use a compare with the string value is when it's remaining the same, and you can just convert it to its 4-byte form. Use that integer number and you're good to go. It's also another way that will help you separate out your enemies. Alright, listen, that's all I really had time for. I'm sorry this kind of drug out a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to show that. Plus I wanted to show you how to add with floats. I just kind of threw that in there because I've been asked that a lot, saying I'm having trouble with the 64-bit tutorial. Give me some pointers, and I'm having to retype over and over and over again. So I'm throw it in this vid, and next time somebody asks me that, I'm just going to send them here. Alright? Alright guys, you take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. Also, come check us out over at the Facebook page, Cheat the Game. I'll leave the links in the description. Take care now.